AIW for dropping my best friend because they refused to leave their toxic boyfriend? Sorry about the repost. I hope I formatted this better. And I know the title sounds kinda messed up, but just let me explain and give you some backstory. So I, F16, met my best friend, let's call her Mia, F16, back in 2022. We immediately became close and were practically best friends overnight. Over these years, we both have had some mental health issues that we had to overcome. I let Mia stay with me frequently for days on end to help support her through some of the things she was struggling with. She was making amazing improvement and was starting to do better in everything such as school, social life, and even relatively at home. We were about halfway through the school year, and when she met her boyfriend, M16, we'll call him Owen. Owen and Mia hit it off extremely well, like really well. He showered her with affection and was just overall really good. At first, Mia and I were hesitant on him because Mia had been through a rough relationship in the past, so she was a bit nervous to trust him at first, and I was in total support of that. They continued to talk for about 1 month before Mia had decided to call it official and start dating him. At first, I was all for it. I was so happy that Mia had found someone that was good to her, someone who she could have a genuine connection with. I'd say it was really good, from what I heard, for the first 3 months in their official relationship, but soon after that it quickly took a turn. Mia would vent to me about Owen continuously disrespecting her boundaries and making her sad. I told her the first few times she talked about it to try and sit down and have a face-to-face conversation with him about what is upsetting her. She initially took that well, and then later told me how she had a conversation with him about she felt, but that it had gone wrong. I told her that if he is disrespecting her boundaries and refusing to apologize or try to change, that she should leave him. Eventually, she forgave him and told me that everything was okay, that he was amazing and going to change. I was like, all right, he better show it. Not even a week after that talk Mia, she came to me again crying about him. I think you see the picture now. For the past 5 months, it's been non-stop fighting and pointless drama her boyfriend. She comes to me, vents about it, and then doesn't take any of the advice I give her and goes and forgives him, saying that it's his last chance. I truly started getting fed up with this stuff, but I held through it because I love Mia deeply and I really didn't want her to be hurt. But then, I'd say around April of this year, Mia's entire demeanor shifted. The venting about her boyfriend only got worse, but she really fell back into a depressive state. Her old self-sabotaging habits were coming out again. She was skipping class again, skipping tests. She was just overall being very negative. Example of this is that any time I would talk about something positive in the future, she would somehow flip it into something really sad. Talking about how she'll never get better, never gonna grow up, that she's gonna commit self-bye early on. Just scary, sad things. She also started to become very cold with me. Mean almost. Every time she would argue with her boyfriend or get into a mood because of him, she'd take it out on me. She started being overall aggressive with her tone, snapping at me for giving her advice for problems she came and vented to me about. It felt like the only things we'd ever talk about is her boyfriend, or her getting upset because of her boyfriend. It felt like every time he did something, immediately she was being mean to me. So I'll be honest, I did kinda distance myself a bit. I got really close with this friend group I met around the time, and I made a mental note for myself that I would stop being the only one that reached out to make plans. Therefore, I wasn't really hanging out with Mia as much because either she didn't ask, or any time she did ask was last minute and on days I told her I had plans on. This is when the passive-aggressive comments started. Mia would randomly text me at times being like, "Why are you mad at me? We never hang out anymore," or, "You are always busy with your other friends, you don't have time for me." At first, I tried to be nice and communicate with her that we are friends. I was just busy and overwhelmed with life. Maybe this is my fault. I should have told her right away how I was feeling, but honestly, I was scared. Mia is very nice to me, but when she's mad, she's mean. She's aggressive and, not gonna lie, violent. She had previously expressed stuff like, "I'd self-delete if we stopped being friends," or "I'd go crazy if we stopped talking." So I was genuinely scared of confronting her about it. Not for myself necessarily, but for her. So I sucked it up and kept trying to communicate to her that everything was okay. I tried to invite her to hang out more, but something just always went wrong. Either my mom said no, or she wasn't able to, or she was upset and in a bad mood BC of her BF, so she didn't want to go anywhere. It once again felt like I was the only person putting effort into planning hangouts. So honestly, and my bad, I kinda just gave up. I didn't really go out of my way to ask her to hang out, and she didn't either. Her mood only got worse though. She was just so mean, sad, and aggravated all the time. I tried my best to give her time to heal, but it just became so much. For instance, my birthday was coming up during this period of events, and I was planning something Mia. Everything I planned, there was always something Mia got upset about. For example, I had invited another friend, let's call them Rocco. Rocco told me privately that they wanted to take me to a store in the mall of my choice one-on-one before my birthday to shop around and find some outfits that they'd pay for as a birthday gift. I should mention, when Rocco had invited me to do this, they expressed they wanted it to be just us because they would not be able to afford getting an outfit for Mia, themselves, and they would feel bad having Mia just shop around with us and not be able to get anything. They also admitted that they low-key just wanted it to be us so that we could also have alone time as it was my birthday. Rocco and I don't hang out frequently, so I was so excited. So obviously I went and told Mia. Mia literally got mad at me, being like, "It's rude Rocco doesn't invite me along when I am their friend and I could literally bring my own money." I tried to explain to them that it wasn't my decision and that I couldn't do anything about it. I eventually caved because they were getting pretty upset, and I just told them I talked to Rocco about it. They didn't even end up coming to my birthday at all. They got in trouble the day before my birthday because they got home late when they were supposed to be home at a certain time. They told their guardians that my parents would give them a ride home, which was news to me. So they blamed my family for not giving them a ride we supposedly agreed to. Therefore, they got grounded and banned from going to my birthday. I was so pissed. All of these behaviors were so mean and so wild, and to what I thought, so out of character. It really felt like her boyfriend was sending her into a spiral. They would continue come to me even after being mean to vent about their boyfriend. It got to the point where I literally never said anything different. I just told them the same advice. Break up with him, he isn't good for you, and try to change the subject. I was just so exhausted and miserable. I would dread seeing them or talking to them. I would isolate myself because anytime I hung out with my other friends, they low-key make me feel guilty for it. They would tell me how I'm acting so different, that I was changing. I was stuck in a constant loop of anxiety, worrying about what the hell I could be possibly doing that's so different, and that's so bad, and that's making them be so passive-aggressive and mean to me. I started to feel like the bad friend. I was going crazy. Then one day something just snapped in me, honestly. Mia had come to me yet again crying and screaming about her boyfriend, and I let it all out. I pretty much told them that the only way they are going to stop being sad is if they leave their boyfriend. I reminded her that she had communicated to her boyfriend these feelings, and that he still wasn't changing. I told her that he clearly doesn't care about what she feels or what she has to say because he puts no effort and has proven to her he doesn't want to change. The only time he apologizes is to convince her not to break up with him, getting her a gift and stuff. I tried to make it as clear as possible that I understood why it was so hard for her to break up with him, but that it's literally the only thing you can do ADP. The relationship is toxic, and it is sending her back into her old ways and making herself and everyone around her, including myself, awful. I may have been harsh with my tone, but I was crying and just so overwhelmed, basically begging her to break up with him, begging her to acknowledge the damage he's doing to her, begging her to just let go because she's going to send herself into a spiral and her mental health will get worse. The only thing she had to say was stuff along the lines of, "Why are you so mad? You shouldn't be this mad. I shouldn't have to sit here and listen to you yell at me. You don't understand. I know he's bad for me, but it's my decision to make and I'm doing it to myself." And at that point I just said, "Okay, then stop talking to me about your issues with your boyfriend." She then left me on scene and ignored me for 2 days. After those 2 days, she sent me an apology. To summarize what the apology was, she basically said, "I'm sorry for saying I didn't want to listen to what you had to say. It's because I knew you were right and I wanted to get myself out of being scolded. I know he's bad for me, but I really like him. I'm not going to break up with him because I really like him and I just don't want to. I know everything you are saying is right, but eventually I'll get tired of his shit and leave. And then started being like, I know I'm just another fucked up mess and that this always happens, but I don't want you to leave me and I am sorry, so I hope you can forgive me. I genuinely was baffled. I don't know if I'm dramatic, but I literally just gave up and said, fine, if you're going to stay with your boyfriend, I'm going to distance myself from you, because I can't handle you being mean to me all the time for stuff I didn't even do. And I was tired of being used as a therapist if she just wasn't going to take my advice. She left me on scene after that, and we haven't talked since. I can't help but get into my head and think maybe I was being dramatic and that I should have given her a bit more grace, but the friendship just became so draining. I was so depressed. I felt like the only person doing anything to keep the friendship healthy, and no matter what I did, it wasn't enough. I'm sorry if this doesn't make sense and is all over the place. I've never really done one of these full-blown stories. But yeah, anyone with some input, please drop it below because I start school again and I'll have to face them. I'm just nervous I'll convince myself I'm crazy and being dramatic and go back to being friends. Yeah, that's all, haha.